Our last example, we are dealing with scatter plots. And I think you only have one homework question regarding this. You might have two. But it says the number of US adults with diabetes in thousands projected through 2050 is shown in the table below. Use a graphing utility to graph the data with X representing the number of years after 2015 and Y representing the number of thousands of US adults with diabetes. Graph the equation Y equals on the same axis as the scatter plot. Okay, so if X is my number of years after 2000, so first this is my X. And if we're talking about years after 2015, subtract 2015 minus 2015 is 0. 2020 minus 2015 is 5. 2025 minus 2015 is 10, and so on. Okay, and so those are all increasing by 5. So you do want to make sure that they are all increasing. Don't just assume because it goes 0, 5, 10, 15 that they're all increasing by that way, because sometimes they'll go by, in this one, every 5 years, and then somewhere they'll start to go every 3 years or every 2 years or something weird and random. So do make sure that they are increasing at the same rate. And then it says Y representing the number of thousands of US adults with diabetes. So here's my thousands. So there's my Y. Okay. So I'm going to here are the 4 things that we need to do. So pause this video and write that down. And then we're going to go through this together. Okay, so hopefully you've paused and got that all wrote down. So let's go through this. First thing we need to do is go to stat. So here is my stat. It's under zoom, under delete is stat. Now I'm going to hit enter because what I'm wanting to do is edit right here. So once I hit stat, I'm already to where I need to be. So I'm going to hit enter and then enter in your lists. So my L1 is going to be my X. So I'm going to put this 0, 5, 10. If you put in 2015, 2020, 2025, 2030, you're going to get this wrong. So you need to make sure you have the proper X starting with that 0, 5, 10. So I'm just 5, enter, 10, enter, 15, enter. It goes down to the next one. Okay. Then in place of my L2, I'm going to put in all of my Ys. Okay. Now, I cannot stress this enough, and maybe I should have even put this as a step. So let's just go right here then. Once you enter these in, check. Do not get this problem wrong because you accidentally put in 36 here instead of 35. It does not take very long to check your list, and yet we often want to skip this step. Check your numbers before you do anything else so that you do not get this problem wrong because you entered in the numbers wrong. So I'm just going to go down my list real quick and just, yes, 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, check. Check my L2. Make sure we have enough zeros everywhere. Okay, and I like mine. So once I like it, I am good to go. Now, if you want to, you can quit. So hit second mode, but it's actually not necessary. Now I'm going to go in here to my Y equals. If you have anything in here, clear it out. First, we want to turn our plot 1 on. So here is my plot 1 up here. So I'm going to turn that on. And you can see I highlight it, I hit enter, and once I go down, it should be boldened now or highlighted or colored in. So once we're done with scatter plots and once we're done with regressions, I want to make sure that's actually turned off. So if you get an error later on, you'll want to come up here and turn that back off. It creates problems when it's on when it's not supposed to be on. Okay, so I do want to turn that on. That's what's going to plot my scatter plot. And I'm going to type in my equation here. But make sure as you do other things that aren't involving scatter plots that you turn that back off. So I have my equation and my y1. I've turned my plot on. And now I'm going to hit zoom 9. So zoom. I want that zoom stat. So either arrow down or just hit 9. And so here we have graphed the equation on the same axis as my scatter plot here. So that scatter plot, all of those little points here represent each of these individually. If I turn this equation off, that's just my scatter plot. My scatter plot is just random ordered points. And so now you can see that that equation is a pretty good representation of that scatter plot because it hits close to all of those lines right there. Don't forget to turn your plot one off as you are done with scatter plots though.